This is a little story that my daddy told me once when I was quizzing him about my ancestors on his side of my family tree. We were sitting in the living room during a raging thunderstorm, and the electricity had gone out for a spell due to the storm. It was all the ways the best time for asking my parents to recall stories of their childhood because there was no background interference from radio and TV. I loved listening to their tales of good old days, as they call them, and some of them are hazy in my memory, and some I've probably forgotten, but this one, although short, I vividly remember. I was asking him about his great-grandmother, who was his mother's grandmother, Martha Jane. This story is about her and one of his memories of her when he was a little boy. Martha Jane, mostly known as Patsy, used to buy fish from my daddy when he was a little boy. He said he was about 9 or so, as he recalled. She lived somewhere in Providence, within walking distance from my daddy from the creek that he fished in. He said he'd spend near about all day fishing in the creek until he'd have a string full of fish to take home. He said he always brought along a little something to snack on, and if he got too hot, he could just jump in the creek and take a swim. It was quiet and peaceful sitting by the creek in the shade on a summer day, and he weren't never in no hurry to head home. My daddy had lots of patience, which is what it took to catch fish. He would catch fish after fish after fish and never get bored of it. But as long as he could get home before dark, though, because he said you didn't really want to be in them woods after dark. All kinds of things could be in those woods watching you in the dark, like mad dogs. Everybody was scared of them mad dogs. So when the sun started going down, Daddy said he'd collect his mess of fish and his cane pole, and off he'd go, heading toward home. On his way, he'd pass by his great-grandmother Patsy's house, and he'd always stop to give her a few of his fish. Well, she'd come to the door and invite him in and brag on his string of fish, but she'd never let him just give 'em to her, no matter how much he insisted. She'd always give him a nickel or a dime for 'em, and some cookies too, or a biscuit, and then he'd be on his way. She always told him, though, "Now you hurry on home, little Harl." That's what they called my daddy. "And don't you stop to play. It's getting dark soon, and you know them old boogers come out at night." Well, Daddy said she didn't have to worry none about nothing like that, 'cause he wasn't about to get caught in those woods after dark. After all, he wasn't born yesterday. Martha Jane Patsy lived to be 95 years old and passed away on Valentine's Day in 1947. Martha was my daddy's great-grandmother, but I'm not sure if he even knew that as a boy. This story took place probably around 1930 because my daddy was born in 1922. So that would make him about 8 years old. So maybe 1930 or 32. I do thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my story, or my daddy's story, actually.